Alright everyone, welcome back. So, we continue on and talking about playoff teams that have clinched with the Colorado Avalanche today. So, just a little disclaimer, I understand that I'm a little bit behind. I got this team in Vancouver, then I'm all caught up. But regardless, the Avalanche became the second team in the Western Conference to clinch last Friday night. It's obviously Tuesday. So these stats may be a little bit inaccurate, but just a disclaimer, these were the numbers at the time that the Avalanche clinched. So currently the Avalanche are 47, 21, and 6 for 100 points. They have scored 279 goals, have let in 221. They are 29, 7, and 1 at home, and they're 18, 14, and 5 on the road, and they are currently 5th in the NHL. So a few things to keep in mind here. When you're looking at Colorado, there's been points where they have looked but regardless, overall, they've had a very good season. Even though they're not first in the division this year, and they're probably going to finish as the second seed unless Dallas starts cooling down a little bit, Colorado is still a team to look at and say, yeah, they could for sure go on a Stanley Cup run if they just get hot at the right time. And they are. They have been hot in the month of March. It looks like they're getting hot heading into April. So, if this team can keep up that hot pace, odds are they could go pretty far. Because when you look at teams in previous years, it usually is the hotter teams heading into the playoffs that go further in the playoffs. You look at Florida, you look at Montreal as prime examples. You even look at, Colorado at one point as an example too. It all depends on how hot the team is doing. They usually go pretty far at that rate. So, that's something to keep in mind there if you're the Avalanche. They're playing very well. They're beating good teams. They're beating bad teams. They're a team, too, that even when they're down by like 3 or 4 goals, they can just turn it on and they can come back and win it. It's just unreal. I don't think any other team in the Western Conference can do that. Not even teams like Dallas or Vancouver. I just don't think so. I can't see it. Obviously, this team's been absolutely insane at home. Nathan MacKinnon was on a crazy point streak. It obviously ended, but regardless, still insane numbers there for MacKinnon. On the road, it's been a little bit different. Their road record is not bad, but it's not amazing either. It's only 18, 14, and 5. That's not terrible, but then again, you just look at that overall. They prefer to be at home. So it's good that Colorado is likely going to have the home ice advantage at this point in the season, regardless of whether or not they're first or second in their division. They will have home ice advantage in at least the first round. So that's definitely good there for Colorado. They would want that, and I think that for sure they would right now play a struggling Winnipeg Jets team. So I would be completely fine with Colorado finishing in that slot. Your leading scorer is, as I mentioned, Nathan MacKinnon, playing at some unreal hockey. 74 games played, 47 goals, 80 assists for 127 points. Yeah, MacKinnon's been really impressive. He's been someone who I've really enjoyed this year with this Avalanche roster. And as I said, he went on like a 35-game point streak, which is simply unreal. I believe that's an NHL record. That is something that you don't see very often. And for MacKinnon to be on the board at home that many times for so long is insane. Like, the streak ended like last week. That's how crazy it is. And we're less than a month until playoffs. So that tells you that, yeah, MacKinnon is a very effective player at home. So essentially, when you're playing Colorado at home, be careful. That's kind of what I'm referring to there. Second in scoring is Mikko Rantanen. Rantanen was 74 games played, 39 goals, 61 assists for 100 points. Rantanen, again, has been an impressive player as well. Is often overshadowed by MacKinnon for sure. MacKinnon's had an unreal year, but Rantanen's always been in the conversation. He's always putting up at least 30-goal seasons, sometimes even 50 goals. But he's been really impressive this year for the Avalanche, and I think that that should not go unnoticed for sure. Third in scoring is Cale Makar. Makar obviously being talked about a lot. It's probably going to be him and Quinn Hughes for the Norris Trophy. That's what it's looking like. So Makar, 69 games played, 19 goals, 62 assists for 81 points with the Avalanche this season. Has again been an impressive forward for Colorado, and defenseman, for Colorado, and will definitely be in the Norris conversation for sure. And the thing is too, him and Quinn Hughes battling for it. There's a slighter chance that Quinn Hughes does win it, but Makar being a finalist is more or less a given because I think he's going to be a finalist every year for the foreseeable future. When you just look at the overall numbers, he definitely is going to be. So yeah, Makar also became the leading Avalanche point scorer as a defenseman, so pretty impressive there. Obviously, the Avalanche have not been around too long, and I mean with Quebec too, there wasn't a whole lot of great defensemen that rolled through there. So Makar obviously tops all those guys easily. So yeah, Makar number 3. Number 4, I put an asterisk next to him because not all of his points were with the Colorado Avalanche. You have Casey Middlestat. Middlestat with 72 games played, 18 goals, 36 assists for 54 points. Middlestat was a deadline acquisition by the Avalanche earlier on in the season and has been and will be a great acquisition if this team wins the Cup. This will look like a brilliant move by the Avalanche. Middlestat's been very impressive with Buffalo, was arguably their best player before he got traded. And now at this rate, Middlestat's looking like a very solid second or third line center that the Avalanche definitely needed with the absence of Landeskog and just the overall weak center depth they've had in previous years. So yeah, I'm really liking Colorado with Middlestat in their lineup for sure. And then 5th in scoring is Valeri Nichushkin with 48 games played, 26 goals, 24 assists for 50 points. Even when he dealt with the player safety stuff and the allegations that were earlier on in the season. I'm not going to get into that, but Nichushkin, the fact that he did that is insanely impressive, and I think it should not go unnoticed the way he's been playing this season. So Nichushkin, even though the allegations kind of overshadow his play, he's still at a point per game regardless of all the games he's missed. So yeah, I like that a lot. I like their offense. I like their defense. Their defense is arguably one of the best defenses in the league. Their goaltending is what a lot of people turn to and kind of have some questions, and I'm there with you. I don't know, because when this team won the Stanley Cup in 2022, I talked about a lot, and I liked Darcy Kemper. I did. When Kemper was the goalie for this Colorado Avalanche team when they won the Cup, I liked Kemper. Kemper was one of my favorite goalies to ever play the game. But when you look at the numbers, when you look at Kemper, he wasn't like a Vasilevsky. He wasn't like a Price, per se. He wasn't like any of the guys we've seen. And it started this trend over the next 2 years or so, where we've seen a guy like Adin Hill, a nobody goalie essentially to the casual hockey fan, come up into the NHL this year and come up into the playoffs and play insane and win the Vegas their Cup. Can I see that with Georgiev? I don't know. I mean, Kemper at least had previous experience. Hill, at least, he had a really good defense behind him. Georgiev has a good defense behind him, but the offense is still, but the goaltending is still lacked. Georgiev, 37, 15, and 4, a 2.85 goals against average and a .901 save percentage. It isn't bad. I'm not saying it's terrible, but when you look at last year's playoffs and when you look at this season overall, I don't know if that's going to be suitable for you to go on a long run. I just don't know if it is. I don't know if that run's going to be suitable. I don't know if Georgiev's going to be the guy, per se. And I don't know if there's any goalie that you could look at the Avalanche and say that he's the guy. Even if Francouz wasn't injured, I don't know if I would trust him either. So for your backup, you got Justice Annunen. Adanen, I'm not sure how you say it. He was a guy who was a third-string goalie in the Avalanche's run in 2022. I actually remember because I made a TikTok meme about him. But regardless, Annunen is 6-3-1, a 2.18 goals against average, and a .932 save percentage. I mean, there's going to be questions when you look at Colorado and heading into the playoffs. If Annunen, I'm going to say Annunen. If Annunen is playing better than Georgiev, do you start Annunen? I mean, you want to ride the hot goalie into the playoffs. I mean, this goes for a lot of teams too, like Carolina, Boston, etc. This goes for every team. But do you want to ride in the hot rookie goaltender into the playoffs? That's a question Colorado's going to have to really think about here heading into this. But definitely, I do think that we'll be in the conversation for sure. I don't know if they'll win it necessarily. I feel like there's 5 or 6 teams that really could win the Stanley Cup. Colorado is one of them for sure. They're definitely a contender in there. They have the experience. They won only 2 years ago. So definitely they're a name there that I think will be in the conversation. But regardless, the goaltending is a little bit of a concern for me. But definitely there have been goalies in previous years who weren't big-name goalies but still won their team the Cup. So maybe it doesn't mean everything. But regardless, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below on the Avalanche clinching. Thank you all for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to like and subscribe down below. I greatly appreciate it. We will continue on in these with the Canucks either later today or tomorrow. I think we're going to try and get it out today. But regardless, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.